Good morning, Wildcats. Welcome to the PodCats. We have a special guest today with us. I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
Hey, I'm Braden Bennett. I'm head coach of the men's and women's Culver Stockton golf team. Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Excited to have you today. I have a few questions I have set, and I think us as a school would like to get to know. What year are you going into coaching golf?
So yeah, this is just my second year. Actually, my first year officially helping. Last year, I kind of just helped on the side. Did a few things for Coach Spoor. He's now our assistant coach. So he kind of took a little bit of a background role. Helps quite a bit still though. He's at practices and stuff like that. Helps take him to the tournaments and stuff. But yeah, just my first year here. Luckily, I've been around the team for a little bit, being I played on the team for a couple of years, and then the home course we practice at, I actually work there, and so I see the kids a lot. Got to know them a little bit before they knew I was the head coach. So it's been good.
Has there anything that like shocked you, like taking that head coach role so soon?
I definitely, to be honest, I wasn't expecting to coach golf. I haven't been playing too long myself. I competed in all the other sports in high school and things like that. And when I got to college, I wanted something to compete in. Picked up golf and walked on the team. So it just wasn't kind of on my radar. But I'm fortunate that my path kind of led me to that. It's super rewarding getting to know the kids. Just being in my shoes not too long ago. I was a player too, and so I can easily relate to them. We have that good kind of player coach relationship. Nothing too shocking, being that I'm not too much older than them, but it's been good.
Yeah. Who like you saying you're stepping into that like new coaching role and you talk about the old coach. Are you trying to mimic your style to be like him, or are you like what style are you taking?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of coaches. I've played a lot of sports throughout my life, and I've been pretty fortunate to have some good ones. Whether it be at Culver, my old high school, John Wood, when I was under Coach Hoyt over there, I've had some really good mentors, and just kind of picked up little pieces from them, and just kind of helped implement that into my coaching strategy. I try to be super. I want to support you. I'm not going to be, especially golf. Golf's a little bit different than most sports. I'm not going to be screaming at you or doing anything like that, like basketball or football. I can't really fire you up out there on the court like I can in golf, or out on the course like I can in golf. And so I'm just going to be there to encourage you. Whatever the next shot may be. How are we going to overcome it and do the best we can?
A little bit about the season now. Like, what does the season ahead look like for our Wildcats that are out there golfing?
Yeah, so we're actually kind of in the midst of our season right now. It's crazy. College golf is kind of played during the late fall and kind of the early spring months. So super windy, super cold. Sometimes you're fortunate enough to catch some good days, but you definitely got to learn how to play in the wind. And so we're kind of figuring that out. We've had two events so far. We've made some good strides. Right now, we're just trying to figure out our little kinks. We've had a lot of guys that play 14, 15 solid holes of golf. And then, the three, they just kind of have hiccups on. And so if we can correct those, we'll be right there with everybody. But our conference is so competitive. We see a lot of winners from our conference go on to compete really well at the national championship level. So you just know you got to kind of go out there and compete every day. We're taking off to Galena here this Easter Sunday, so we're looking forward to that. It's a course, pretty nice resort course up there that the kids have seen, but I haven't been on this exact course on the property, so we're looking forward to it. And then we'll finish up nationals over in, or our regionals over in Paradise Point, Missouri. So looking forward to it.
How would you say, like as a golfer, the adapting to the environment? Because recently here in Missouri, it's been cold, it's been hot, then it's got rain, we got wind. I mean,
Yeah,
what is the adversity to it?
and so yeah, there's a lot of just learning how to play in that type of weather. If you're not competing out there, likely you're not going to be out there playing in those 40-degree days with 30-mile-an-hour winds. You'll probably save the clubs and try and find a sunny day. And so you just got to realize everybody's out there dealing with it. And get to you. So you got to battle the conditions. Golf's a sport that they say is between the ears, just as much as what you're doing out there. So just important to kind of keep your head down and stay focused.
And as the season continues to roll on, who is a player that you think has taken that stride of like leadership and most improvement for the
Yeah,
team?
so I'm gonna have to give a couple names here. I've got some good kids. Every one of them's good. Every one of them brings something to the table. Brady Walker, he's my senior. He's kind of one everybody looks to. When Brady's going, everybody's like, all right, let's go. So he's kind of who everybody looks to. I would say most improved. I'm definitely going to have to go with Riot. Riot's been working really hard this off season between the fall and spring. We've got access to a few simulators here around campus and at our practice course. So he's taken advantage of that. He's kind of really dove into the numbers side of things and saw how can I get better, what's my miss, and how can I control that under pressure. And he's starting to play some really good golf. Like I said, he's kind of one of those kids that plays 15 steady holes of golf and just has a couple hiccups here. And he's just a sophomore, so I think there's some bright swings ahead for him.
Now we're gonna get into like more of like the practice. So for people like me that really don't know much about golf and the Culver golf like scene, what does like a normal day of practice look like?
Yeah, yeah. And so, are you a football player? Is that correct?
Yes, sir, I am.
Yeah, yeah. So that's awesome. Yeah, so football practice, right? You've got individual offense, individual defense, whatever it may be. You're kind of you're with all your team, and you're focused on one main goal. And golf is similar, but also different in an aspect of everybody's kind of working on something different. Somebody may be battling the short game stuff one day, and somebody maybe need to work on the driver off the tee. And so it's different because everybody has to show up and go, okay, what do I need to work on in order to make our team better? And that's going to differ from player to player. And so, that's something in golf. You're never going to solve every part of the game, but what part of my game is lacking the most? Is it my putting? Is it my chipping? What can I do as a player to help my team? Especially when you get out there on the course, you don't have your buddies around you. You've got your competitors from your other team. Every once in a while, you'll see somebody on the other hole. You can kind of give them a thumbs up and stuff like that to let them know, we're doing good and keep going. But you're kind of out there by yourself, and it could be a long. These hours, there's rounds are like 5 to 6 hours long, so it just really tests you. Yeah, things get moving slow out there when everybody's competing. Everybody's, they're every shot counts type deal. So people are definitely taking their time and making sure that they're putting good swings on it. So just kind of a long time to stay focused out there, especially when you're battling the conditions, like we said.
Would you say golf is one of the sports that helps you build your mental fortitude? Like you said, like it's 5 hours of you in a golf ball. Would you say it helps build a character?
Yeah, I think so. I think it reaches a different you know aspect that other sports don't. I played football, basketball, baseball, and I could always dig deep and find an extra gear to go compete if my shot wasn't falling or if my passes weren't getting completed, whatever it may be. In golf, sometimes it's just not working, and you're like, I feel like I'm doing this, it's just not happening. And so yeah, and sometimes that's what happens in life. You feel like you're doing your best. Doesn't mean you got to give up your next shot because yeah, you got something happening next shot. You got to step up there, hit a good one. Just like in life, you get knocked down, got to get right back up and get after it. So I love sports. I think there's such a good teaching point for life. But yeah, especially golf because you're never going to master it. And you're never going to, just when you think you've got it figured out, it's going to humble you really quick.
What would you say Culver does best for the golf scenario and the golf sport in a whole that other
Yeah,
schools lack?
yeah. I can't speak for other schools, but what I know about Culver, they're super supportive as a community. I've got some longtime Culver alums, and every time I see them at the course, they're like, oh hey, I'm a Culver alum. How you guys doing? They're eager to check in, and I think Culver brings that kind of just tight knit home field community to it. And so kind of once you're a part of that program, it sticks with you. And I just like that about Culver. How everybody's so interested in the program and really wants you to succeed.
Has there been any challenge this year, like for any reason, whether it be the weather or just a club breaking? Like, has there been like a challenge that y'all have had to overcome as a team?
Um, nothing super crazy, thank goodness. Kind of all the challenges we expect. We know it's going to be difficult. We know it's not going to be handed to us or anything like that. Uh, Everything that we see out on the course, is usually a product of what's made at practice. So those kids that are showing up at practice, doing the right thing, working on their short game, those are the kids that are getting claps at the during the round, getting up and down for par and stuff like that.
I do have a question that I think a lot of people may be like wondering is y'all
Sure.
figure out y'all have a game and y'all know the course. What's the rules and everything about like can you go and golf that course before the game or before the tournament starts to get a little
Yeah,
bit?
yeah. So the day of you can. So, but any days prior to that, you're welcome to go kind of scout it out. We've had players that like both. Some players like, you know what, I don't like to see it. I just want to go up there. Whatever I see that day is what I feel. I got other players that love to go see the course, the day before, play it, maybe even find out what our schedule is a couple months prior, and try and make their way up there and play it a couple different times in a non-tournament atmosphere to kind of get to know the place. There's a lot of different ways you can kind of scout a golf course. I personally think the best way to do it is to go to the green and kind of look back. The hole looks usually completely different from the green back to the tee. And you kind of see where the best shots or the best shapes to come in from, and kind of where you can be aggressive and also know where your miss is at. In golf, it's such a big piece of it is to know where your miss is, know where your tendency is, and where that tendency could get you in trouble out on the course. So I think the more you go play it, the more you see it. Usually, the better the scores are. But yeah, no rules besides you can't play it on the day before. Go out and practice on any pins before you go and compete.
Okay, you're talking about courses, and obviously there's multiple courses that we can go golf at, and the closest one to us is Cumberland, I think, right?
Yep, yep.
What would you say is the team's favorite? And then I want to hear about your favorite course.
The team's favorite. I would say the team's favorite. We just went to a place in Wichita, Kansas. They host I think it's Crestview Country Club. They host a Corn Ferry Tour event, which the Corn Ferry Tour event is like one level below the PGA Tour guys. So those guys basically compete all year. The top 25 from this Corn Ferry Tour make it to the PGA Tour, and so it's some super good courses if you find yourself on that list. And so we were able to go play it, and there were some really good teams, some really good competition. But it's just cool to play those courses. We were there 2 to 3 weeks after the pro event was there, and there was a big famous putt on 18 for some guy to win it. So it's cool being there and saying, wow, you look it up on YouTube, and you're standing right there. And so those ties that you get to see are cool. You probably wouldn't find yourself in Wichita, Kansas unless you're going to compete in golf tournaments. So it's pretty fun. We are going to try and go and we have a former teammate, Brevin Wilson. He's a PGA assistant professional it's called Porta Chima down in Lake of the Ozarks. Really cool private club, but where he's fortunate enough, he's going to get us a tee time down there. And I have a feeling the guys are really going to like this course. If you've ever been down to the Ozarks, down by the toll bridge, you've got a hole that comes all the way down onto the lake, and it's pretty cool. So I think once they get to that hole and look out, they're going to say this is their favorite course. I would say that ranks up there for mine. I've been pretty fortunate being a PGA pro to go play some pretty neat places down in St. Louis. There's a handful of them. Specifically, I think my favorite one was Bella Reeve Country Club. It's where they had the PGA Championship back in 2018, I believe. They got the 2026 BMW Championships coming up this year, and then another major coming up next year. And so it's cool because you see some of the greats play there, and just to step foot on that property, it's pretty neat.
And you said you're a PGA pro?
Yeah, so there's different. PGA professional means I'm in the Professional Golf of America, and then if you're on the PGA Tour, that means you're competing on the tour. So there's a difference, usually a couple of commas in the bank account difference, but those guys are pretty good. So I do have the chance. What's cool in the PGA, we have a qualifier every year, and so basically, if I win my region qualifier, I go up and I compete in the next level qualifier, and then the top 25 guys make it to the tournament, and then the winner of that tournament gets like 3 million. So it's the potential's there, the possibilities there, the likelihood probably not.
But you're still competing while you're a coach as well, though, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it's cool. I can go compete down in St. Louis. That's our gateway section. So that's kind of where we host most of our tournaments at. And so they host quite a few of them throughout the season. Most of them being on Mondays because that's when our courses are usually closed. And so yeah, go down to St. Louis, compete. It's a good time. You get to know some people. And golf is always kind of about networking. So you never know when your next opportunity might come up.
Well, that's all the questions I have so far for you. Is there anything you would like to tell the podcasts about golf and whether they should join or not?
Hey, I will say we're always looking for some recruits. So if there's any Cobra golfers out there, give me a call. Let's get together and see if there's some potential there, and see if we can get you on the roster.
Well, it was nice talking to you, Coach. I hope y'all have a great rest of y'all season, and I hope y'all succeed.
Yeah, hey Hayden, thank you. Likewise to you, and good luck with football, my man.